What's up, everybody? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Friday, February 5th, 2021. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the author of Things I Learned from Mario's Butt, Laura Kate Dale. Hello, Laura.
Oh, I'm here. I convinced you to do words in a book that I wrote.
That's right. If you didn't know, if you're an audio listener, we're both holding up the book. Things I Learned from Mario's Butt is available. It's hardcover. Tim and I wrote in it alongside a bunch of other people. Laura, if they don't know what the hell this book's about, what is this book about?
This is a wild book idea that somehow someone let me make. I started on this like 2 years ago. It is a coffee table book of video game character butt reviews. It's got a bunch of illustrations in there. It's got a bunch of interviews with developers and people you know from the internet who talk about games. And it's just a bunch of people taking video game character butts more seriously than you would probably consider them taking them.
This Jim Sterling one was one of my favorites from Bloodborne, because I get that now. Of course, I've
the one about
Bloodborne.
shoving the arm up the pig. Yeah.
Kevin, you saw it. You saw me do it many times. Shove my arm up that pig's ass. You saw it.
I yelled about it a lot too. There's
You
a lot of
did.
excitement.
You did.
I didn't think I'd be looking at it from that perspective ever.
So, Laura, if somebody doesn't know and they've missed you on Games Daily before with Tim, who are you? What do you do?
My name's Laura. I do lots of stuff across the internet to do with video games. On YouTube, every Friday, I upload a show called Accessibility, which is all about accessibility and representation in the games industry. We put up an episode today that was all about gaming with ADHD. I Twitch stream 3 times a week at Laura K Buzz on Twitch. I'm currently trying to go get a bunch of speedruns in games that nobody plays. I'm currently the undisputed world champion at speedrunning that Cooking Mama game on the Switch that got pulled off sale.
Oh, great. Yeah,
last year. Got all the records on that. I just talk about video games on the internet. I do a bunch of podcasts. I've written some books. Just search Laura K Buzz and you'll find everything.
You got a Patreon too, patreon.com/Laura K Buzz. Check it out there. But for right now, Billy the Door writes in asking about the book, Things I Learned from Mario's Butt. Billy Door says on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Hey, with the butt book out now, I have to ask, what are some honorable mention butts? Some butts that were great, but didn't necessarily make the cut.
The main butts that I have, like, I wish they were in the book and aren't, are the ones that came out after the book was sent to the printers, because obviously you got a really long lead time on these kind of projects. So, like, some ones from 2020 that didn't make the book, but I really wish had been in there. Jin from Ghost of Tsushima.
Sure, what a great ass.
When he's getting out of that natural pool, that's the kind of ass that marble sculptures are produced about. Like, that is
what inspired the Romans.
Yeah. Zagreus from Hades. Not only is he just like a finely sculpted character head to toe, but you've got to have a really good ass if you are going to get the attention of seemingly every god that ever existed being a bit horny for you.
Yep.
And one that I kind of regret not putting in that's from long in the past is Pepsi Man. If you go back and play Pepsi Man has a pretty good ass. Also very shiny, like clearly polished, very, very polished. Someone has gone there with like the buffing cloth and made sure that thing is very shiny.
Oh, only the finest for Pepsi, right, Kevin?
Yeah.
Yeah, Pepsi's the worst.
Yeah, Pepsi. Kevin, not a Pepsi fan. Don't worry about it. Well, Laura, there's no time to lose. Today we're talking about Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2 not coming in 2021, Sony taking a stake in FromSoftware's parent company, and the fact that they are hiding butts in Mass Effect. This is what a day for you to be on this show.
Day to bring me on, indeed.
We're going to cover all this and more because this is Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday on a variety of platforms, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you like that, you can head over to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, where you can be part of the show with your questions, comments, concerns, your squad up requests, and everything under the daily video game sun. Of course, on patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, you can get every episode of Kind of Funny Games Daily ad-free. You can get it with the post show we do each and every weekday, and so much more. Remember to, if you have no bucks toss our way, it's no big deal. You can go to twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames and watch live as we record it, just like PJ is, Quarter is, Joshy G is. Of course, if you're on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, you have a special job. Go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up, so we can set the record straight for everybody watching later on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames, roosterteeth.com, and listening on podcast services around the globe each and every weekday. Housekeeping for you. Remember, there's a brand new Gamescast up on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames. And of course, the Gamescast podcast feed. We have found the worst game of 2021, and we do not think it will be defeated. So you need to come see Blessing, Tim, and Imran all wrap their heads around it while I narrate from the website and make fun of it.
Without spoiling what it is, I have played some of it, and yeah, it's not good.
Every buttons jump? Why?
Yeah.
How is... What? Why
You jump and your momentum just stops? It's not good.
There's choices. They made some choices.
Not good.
Oh,
not good. Not even that as a saving grace.
Damn, you know what I mean? The one thing you could hang your hat on. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Graham of Legend, David Mintel, Trent Berry, Blackjack, Louise Aguiar, James Davis Makes, and at James Davis Makes, and then I'm sorry, Louise is also at 8-Bit Louise, and then the Nanobiologist. Today we're brought to you by Brooklyn and Honey, but I'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin the show with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. Time for some news. We got 5 items on the Roper Report.
A baker's dozen.
We're going to start, of course, we're still in the financial call fallout part of the year where everybody's finishing things up and telling you what's happening and what's not going to happen. We're going to start at GameSpot where our friend Eddie writes, there's no Diablo 4 or Overwatch 2 this year, but luckily you'll get a Call of Duty. As part of Activision Blizzard's earning report, the company confirmed that 2 of Blizzard's most anticipated upcoming games, Diablo 4 and Overwatch 2, will not release in 2021. While we didn't get any new details on the game itself during an earnings call, Blizzard management said Overwatch 2 passed a significant milestone in December 2020. This involved, quote, hundreds of developers taking part. Overall, Blizzard said it feels confident about Overwatch 2. Also during the call, management confirmed that a new Call of Duty game is releasing in 2021, shocking, but it did not say which studio is developing it or what franchise it might be. Management also said that it has learned a lot already from the free-to-play Call of Duty Warzone, and this game will remain operational and supported in the future, even when the new mainline game releases. Black Ops Cold War's weapons were integrated into Warzone, and it's expected this will continue for mainline Call of Duty games, future mainline Call of Duty games. If history is any indication, 2021's Call of Duty game may be coming from Sledgehammer Games. The studio's last game that it led the development on was 2017's Call of Duty World War II, so it appears the team may be up next after Treyarch made 2018's Black Ops 4 and Infinity Ward developed 2019's Modern Warfare. Treyarch returned in 2020 with Black Ops Cold War. Also during the call, management said there would be more, quote, remastered content coming in the future. No further details were provided, but this comment came after it was reported that Vicarious Visions, which is now a Blizzard studio, is working on a Diablo 2 remaster. Laura, a lot to unpack there. Is any of it exciting?
Exciting. It's all very predictable stuff, I think.
Yeah.
The thing that I found most interesting in there that I keep thinking about is that Overwatch 2 news, because I'm not surprised it's going to take a while to do, because everything they've said about Overwatch 2 sounds like they're basically making 2 games at once. They're making a single player and another Overwatch multiplayer. And I wasn't expecting to see that for a while. We've heard absolutely nothing other than it exists and will have single player. I think that's all we've heard about it.
Yeah, right. It's always a rumor, an undercurrent. It's always something people are excited for. Last year when I screwed up the PS I Love You fantasy draft, Blessing tried to throw me a bone and said, if you want to try to valiant effort it, you could get Overwatch 2. If it comes out, you'd be in good shape. And then, of course, now in the Gamescast fantasy critic, Blessing has it and has screwed himself over, having to burn one of his games to drop because it won't release Overwatch 2 on his list. But yeah, Overwatch 2 gets talked about a lot. I feel like they talked about it clearly at this point too early.
Yeah, it's one of those things that about now I would have expected we'd have had, like, at the very least, some kind of sense of where it was in development. It just feels like they needed a name to drop and didn't really think much beyond that.
Yeah, I'm trying to look it up here, like when we actually announced Overwatch 2.
I feel like it was start
November
of last
2019.
year. Oh, it was earlier than I thought then.
Yeah, and this is what Google's saying. I haven't gotten to dive into it or whatever. Yeah, November 2019, the BlizzCon event is when it got announced.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when it's more than a year since a game's been announced and you see nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that usually is such a bygone product, but you wonder how much of this is affected by COVID, work from home, that what 2020 became for all of us.
I wonder also for Activision Blizzard specifically, Diablo 4 being another case of this. whether it's because the previous year at BlizzCon they had such a bad experience with the news that they dropped. Because was it 2018 that they announced that Diablo mobile game that really annoyed people? And I feel like 2019 they just wanted to have a win, even if it wasn't really ready.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's probably a good thing. You get excited. I'm reading it from PCGamer.com right now. They have an Overwatch 2 Everything We Know article. I love this paragraph. I've read it on the show before. What is Overwatch 2 exactly? Well, it's a sequel to Overwatch, but not in the way that we usually think about sequels. By the sound of it, Overwatch 2 is more like a big expansion that focuses primarily on PvE missions. These missions appear to build off the Overwatch archive seasonal events from the past few years. The new story missions will likely have more story, dialogue, and cutscenes than the highly repeatable limited time events. We go over these in greater detail below. This is the problem with it too, where it's like from the first real information we've had about this top level, it's been this weird thing that is it Overwatch 2 or is it Overwatch 1.5? Is it just something that's being added into this? Do you need to go where, like, what are we getting out of this?
Yeah, it's the messaging has definitely not been clear around it, and it's knowing what to even the fact that we don't even know clearly what to expect is why it doesn't surprise me that it's not going to come until at least next year.
Yeah, I think you have it on the money, right? That they wanted to win, they wanted people to be excited, so they announced it. But then, obviously, behind the scenes, things continue to shift, change. What is this game? And the scope probably has gone a few different ways too.
And again, the Call of Duty news that's in here as well. I think anyone who was going to make a guess about Call of Duty, there's probably going to be one this year, and it's probably going to be Sledgehammer, because they have that, 3 studios they rotate between?
Yeah, they have that cadence going on that it got a little bit jostled recently because of some management switch-ups. But yeah, that would make sense. That seems to be where it would. I like this. Nanobiologist points out, and you're wrong, a reminder, Overwatch 2 and Diablo 4 were announced at the same BlizzCon. It was when they tried to address the Blitzchung issue. So that's why they wanted to win. That's why they, thank you very much. I did forget that part of the story that, when the Free Hong Kong thing was going on, how can we possibly cover that up? Let's talk about Diablo 4. Let's talk about Overwatch 2.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a factor.
So yeah, it was vaporware probably when they talked about it initially. Now as they continue to figure it out.
We've got a napkin that we've written down that we want to do this on.
Outrageous.
Yeah. The other thing in this that I thought was like quite nice news to read was that they're going to be supporting Warzone going on for a while.
Yeah.
There's a part of me that expected they might like replace it with something new just to try and get money, like to try and get a new batch of people in. But I'm glad to hear that they're just going to use it. Sounds like they're using that as a platform and they're just going to stick with it for a while.
Yeah, and I think, that speaks to the success they're clearly seeing with it. If you're getting Nick Scarpino and Snowmike Mike and Andy in there every 2 days a week or whatever as they drop into the Warzone and do their thing, like, I think it makes sense that, they've obviously found an audience for that, and it is what they want, that sustainable base that you can monetize over and over again for whatever it may be.
Yeah, and exactly. The fact that they've got their annual releases and they've said that they're going to be bringing the guns from the new main games into it, that's an excuse once a year to get people excited about jumping back in.
Let's move on, because again, it's not surprising. It is interesting. I can't believe that you will not get Overwatch 2 this year when there was a chance it might come out in 2020. We felt like at some point, so we'll go on. Number 2, though, let's talk about Silent Hill being on about something here. Silent Hill's composer shot off his mouth, and then the interview got taken down, and all hell's breaking loose.
The Streisand effect in full swing.
100%, Laura. Matt TM Kim at IGN reports, Silent Hill and Contra composer Akira Yamaoka says in a recent interview that he expects to announce a new project this summer and teases that he thinks it's the one people are, quote, hoping to hear about. In an interview with the YouTube channel Alhub, Yamaoka appeared to speak about his latest work as a composer on the medium. But when asked if there were any other projects he's working on, Yamaoka responded that an announcement will likely happen this summer. What's more, it could be a big one for fans. Quote, you'll probably hear something this summer to be announced, Yamaoka said via a translator before adding, and I think it's the one you're kinda hoping to hear about. Matt at IGN continues, let's not mince any words here. Yamaoka is famous for his work on the Silent Hill series, where he was an original member of Konami's Team Silent dev team. A new Silent Hill game has made its way around the internet rumor mills for years now, since the cancellation of Hideo Kojima's PT, and is easily the ones fans are most excited to learn about. In the years since PT was shelved, rumors of a new Silent Hill game in development have popped up several times. In 2020, a prominent leaker divulged that 2 Silent Hill games could be in development, one described as a soft reboot, and the other as an episodic game similar to Telltale titles. That broke yesterday after Games Daily. People were going crazy with it, and then there was an update. An interview with Akira Yamaoka, which many have taken as a tease for a new Silent Hill game, has been removed by its original publisher, Alhub. In a statement, Alhub explained that it had been asked to remove the clip, but doesn't specify who asked, and apologized for doing so. The statement they put up on Twitter was, "We thank you for your support, which contributed to the spread of the interview that we published yesterday with Akira Yamaoka around the world. We were asked to remove the clip, and it has been removed. We apologize, and stay tuned for the next interviews." Literally the Streisand effect. I don't know if it would have made this before of like, okay, cool, this guy's working on a game. Everybody teases something, but the fact that it had to be taken down, like,
For people who don't know, the Streisand effect is the idea that if you try and stop a piece of news from spreading, that's usually what elevates it into the thing that everyone talks about.
Yeah, once it's out there, it's out there. But then when the news becomes that, hey, I'm going to take this down, then that is the news on top of the thing you were trying to hide.
I'm going to be honest, had I read this story without the fact it being taken down, I probably would have gone, we're all getting our hopes up that it's Silent Hill, but it could be anything.
Yeah.
I'd have questioned things like, maybe the translation was slightly off and that, like, we're going to find out a couple of days from now that it wasn't actually sounding the way it sounded. Hearing that it's been taken down, I'm fully on board. Team, I think this is one of the Silent Hill games that's coming.
And you talk about who would throw their weight around. This strikes me as a Konami move, right?
Yeah.
Of of course they would go in. They'd be like, take this down, blah blah blah. You can't reason with them. You can't tell them that this is going to make it a bigger story and confirm the rumor people are thinking it's going to be.
Well, that's the thing. Like the fact that they won't say who asked them to take it down feels very telling, because I feel like if we knew who'd asked them to take it down, it would make it very clear what was up.
And it's that thing of like, it's the whole interview. It's not just that section. Like, there's so many pieces to it, and you feel bad. I feel bad for the composer who's just trying to get out there and talk about the medium, and then makes a reference of something he's doing.
You see this happen constantly with voice actors, where they'll mention that they're doing something that they haven't been cleared to say, and then try and backtrack it. I'm always surprised how people sort of on the outside edges of game development don't realize they're not supposed to talk about some of their projects.
I feel like it's gotten a bit better, right? But it's when you start bringing in the voice actors who don't do it professional that it gets really out there of what could happen. Oh, thank you, Lucy. I'd see it so many times back in the day of like when, and I'm not throwing shade in, but it's just one I remember. When Eric Layden was Cole in Infamous, right? And then when PlayStation All-Stars was still just a rumored thing and who was on the roster, somebody put out a fake one but tagged him in it, and he was like, I'm so excited to be working on it. I DM'd him like, dude, this is not announced. You just fell for the bait. He's like, oh my God. Like, that's how this happens, right? Where it's just so many people have so many different things going on that you don't think about it. And this is just a cute tease, but either way, like maybe it could also be that Konami's or whoever asked to take it down because they aren't doing it. We aren't working on a Silent Hill game. We don't want people's hopes up.
That's the thing about the Streisand effect is now that that this has been taken down, everyone is assuming it's Silent Hill, and if it's not Silent Hill, people are going to be annoyed not at this composer. They're going to be annoyed at Konami now for like, oh, why did you get our hopes up by taking the interview down?
100%. So we'll have to keep watching and see what happens there. But I feel bad for just about everybody involved. Not Konami, but everybody else. I'm just like, let him. He said it. Who cares? The Silent Hill fan base is excited. When the trailer drops, eventually people will still be stoked about it. I don't know.
Exactly. The number of people who would notice this story isn't going to make a major impact to your reveal, probably.
We're taking an aside here. Where do you come down on the scary games? Does the new Silent Hill do something for you? Are you obsessed with the tall vampire lady from Resident Evil?
I am a big fan of the tall vampire lady from Resident Evil. Very good tall vampire lady. I like horror to a certain degree. I like narratively the very narrative horror that sort of takes me along a very scripted path and I can go down a spooky journey. I am not so much a fan of the, this is all being programmed so that I don't know when a scare's coming. I don't like being scared too much. Take me on a spooky story where ultimately I'll come through the other side, probably.
Did you play the medium? Any interest in the medium?
I played through the medium over this past weekend. I like a lot of stuff it does. I think that the split screen mechanic for dealing with the two worlds is really interesting. I thought they did a good job with building tone and knowing when to give you answers to mysteries. Its story is a little bit unpleasant in some places. It makes some implications about like what causes people to be monsters and the impacts of trauma that are not necessarily great, but
Yeah, the wheelchair. Once you sit down in the wheelchair,
Yeah,
the game goes off and it's like, oh, okay.
yeah, there's a lot of like, oh, well, this person did this bad thing because, well, they were bound to because of this thing from their past, and that's always a bit iffy. But like, I like the tone and the setting.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting, and I enjoyed it as well. I didn't love it. I think it's a good AA game, something we don't get that often, right? And like, there's shortcomings to it for sure, but I enjoyed my time with it. I think it's a great Game Pass game. But I was at the same thing of playing it. I enjoyed the fact that, you know, the main character, she felt in control. It didn't feel like a horror game, right? She understood that she had powers and was going between worlds, and like, there's things that'll scare her and jump scare her, but it wasn't like you're on the run and you're damsel in distress or anything like that.
You're not going to get injured at all unless you're in the moment where the music got really loud and something like an action sequence is happening.
Yeah, 100%.
Most of it's just talk to spooky girl and she'll say something ominous, and now you got to go in a scary room.
Go find this thing and watch a echo playback or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited. Yeah, I like horror games. I am excited for more Silent Hill if they were to do that and see what a modern Silent Hill looks like.
Yeah, Silent Hill is one of the horror franchises that I really enjoy, so I would love to see more of that, and I hope that's what we're getting.
Well, do you want to see Prince of Persia?
I do.
Well, you're not going to see it anytime soon. Our next story here is Prince of Persia is delayed once again. You remember it was originally announced for January 21st, then it became March 18th, and today the dev team has posted the following statement. Hello, Prince of Persia fans. Since announcing Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake in September, we saw an outpouring of feedback from you on this beloved franchise. It is your passion and support that is driving our development teams to make the best game possible. With that said, we have made the decision to shift the release of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake to a later date. This extra development will enable our teams to deliver a remake that feels fresh while remaining faithful to the original. We understand the update might come as a surprise, and we will continue to keep you posted on the progress of Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake. In the meantime, we want to thank you for your ongoing support, the dev team. How's this one hit you?
There's something that feels a bit strange about this one, because it's very rare that you get, like, this was going to come out in January, it got pushed back by 2 months, and now it's just nebulously, we don't know when it's coming. That to me sounds like some very last minute thing is causing them real issues, or that they've had some bit of feedback that they've gone, we need to rework something quite seriously.
You figured that was the thing, right? For the September reveal of Prince of Persia remake, the main thing people jumped down their throats about were how it just didn't look good. It didn't look like a PS4 game, let alone a PlayStation 5 game, and at least releasing when those systems exist.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is you would think if that was the issue and they went, we need to retool the visual identity of this game, that they would have known that up front. Like, you would think one delay for that, to then have it pushed question mark into the future. It feels like there's something bigger that they're trying to deal with. And
I like in the chat, Dubot214 says Cyberpunk scared the shit out of devs. There's something to that in a way, I imagine, right? Of like, you can't, people already have their hackles up about this game. If it doesn't look like a remake, so what are you going to do with it? And I would imagine that they gave these 2 months thinking they'd be able to whip that into a shape, and it's not there. And so now you have to sit there and really figure out how long it's going to be, and Ubisoft does not want to just put a date on it.
I feel like part of it is definitely that they don't want to put this thing out until they know that it is as good as it's going to be, because you know how the internet is. When the internet has decided that they don't like how something is, it's going to take a lot to shake that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think that can be the upswing to it. First impression on Prince of Persia, right, is either even me, who loves Prince of Persia and just, adore Sands of Time. I mean, no matter what this game looks like, but it was, this doesn't look that great. And that's the message now that has been since September. And so clearly you need to wait. And then when you can make your next trailer, when you can drop more information about it, you need it to be, hey, this game looks great now. we haven't seen any more gameplay or any more trailers of it since that initial reveal, have we?
I believe
Have
that's
there
correct.
been more?
Kindoffunny.com/you're wrong if there was more. I think it was
Yeah.
just that one time, and the
I
reaction
don't
was
remember
so strong.
seeing. Yeah, and that would lend some credence to the fact that they've shown nothing since.
Yeah, and they know they can't screw this up because
Yeah.
again, like that fan base is very vocal, but I don't think it's huge. And I think that you need
Yes.
that fan base 100% behind it to get it out there so that new people are like, oh, well, this is a game I have to play, and everybody loves it. And the story could be that, hey, it looks great now. And they went through and, up-resed everything, and your trailer is talking about what you've done and changed.
Yeah, and Ubisoft, if they're going to release a single game, they want to release sequels, and they want to, like, I imagine that they'll want to have the Prince of Persia sequels remastered, and you need the first one to do well if you're going to get your sequels out.
Exactly right. You don't want another Patapon situation where I begged you to buy Patapon in the PlayStation 4. And then it took years for Patapon 2, and then you didn't buy that, and now Patapon is dead, and Patapon's blood is on your hands.
How much does he ask for?
I don't ask for that much, Kevin.
No.
You know what I mean? I come out
Just
here every
keep
day in the
Patapon
podcast minds. I'm out here, making the podcast for you. All I ask is when I want a stupid video game, you buy it, so you may keep making them.
See, I feel bad now. I bought Patapon 2, but I should have bought it more than once. I'm sorry, Greg.
I didn't know you were part of the problem, Laura. That's we got
only one copy.
Oh, you could have bought it for your friends. You know what I mean? Where did you buy a Vita at least? Did you ever own a Vita?
Oh yeah, I own the
Okay,
Vita.
you're fine.
Yeah,
You're fine.
it's
You're
okay.
fine.
You got some points.
Okay, all right. You're fine. Then you're fine. Speaking of Vita, number 4, not really. Number 4 on the Roper Report, Sony has bought a stake in FromSoftware's parent company. This is Andy Robinson over at VGC. Katakawa Corporation, the parent company of Bloodborne and Dark Souls studio FromSoftware, has formed a capital alliance with Sony, it announced Wednesday. The Japanese media conglomerate, which also owns manga, publishing, and film companies, said in its latest financial reports that it had given Sony a 1.93% ownership as part of the financial deal. As part of the alliance, smartphone firm Cyber Agent will also receive the same percentage of shares in the company. Cyber Agent is the owner of Psy Games, the creator of hugely popular Japanese mobile games. In its latest financial results, Kadokawa said the Capital Alliance would allow it to utilize Sony's, quote, global expansion power of animation and consumer games. The deal would facilitate the creation, development, and acquisition of new IP, in addition to allowing it to maximize the value of the abundant IP that we already own, it added. While Sony's investment in Katakawa doesn't suggest any obligation to create exclusive games for PlayStation, FromSoftware itself has a long history partnering with Sony. Of the 65-plus games the studio has released since 1994, more than half released exclusively on PlayStation platforms. So pretty definitively, Laura, this is it. FromSoftware now a Sony first party, right?
Of course, confirmed. What's that one with George R.R. Martin that everyone's excited about?
Elden Ring.
Yeah, that's going to be a PS5 exclusive now.
Done. It's over. Yeah.
I saw a lot of people talking about this story, and a lot of people pitching it as what I think everyone kind of wants it to be, which is Sony, the PlayStation division, has bought part of FromSoftware, and we're going to get infinite FromSoftware games now, which I don't think that's the case, but I mean,
No.
It certainly isn't going to hurt the good relationship the two companies already have.
Yeah, I don't think this changes much of anything. I tossed it in here because, so many people were talking about it. Yeah, even the Sheep Whisperer wrote in to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames and said, recapping the story, Sony owns 1.93% of Katakawa. This is significant because Katakawa is the parent company of FromSoftware, developer, blah, 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 but they also have in their umbrella many anime properties that Sony can flesh out recently with its acquired Crunchyroll. While it is a minor stake, is this a sign of an even deeper relationship between FromSoftware and Sony forming? I think your final statement, Sheep Whisperer, would be more accurate for your question of, is this a sign of an even deeper relationship between FromSoftware and PlayStation? I don't know. I do not think it is.
I think that the Sheep Whisperer kind of hit the nail on the head earlier in the question, talking about the anime relationship, because I honestly think that is where a company that produces anime has a really good excuse to get on board with a company that makes consumer electronics and televisions and lots of stuff for watching your anime on. Yeah,
exactly. And that's the thing where it can't hurt, but I really doubt that it's going to be this barely 2% of the company is enough to be like, well, hold on a second.
Here's the thing, I would find this a more interesting story if it had been, say, Nintendo or Microsoft or a company that doesn't already have an existing very good relationship with FromSoftware, because then you might look at it and go, this might encourage some ports or some, exclusive
Open
stuff.
a new door, yeah.
Yeah, but like the door's already open here. We just had the Demon Souls remake at the end of last year. Bloodborne exclusive. Everything they make, pretty much everything they make comes to PlayStation anyway. I don't foresee like future stuff that From Software makes not coming to Xbox because of this.
Agreed. So yeah, sorry everybody. Sorry all of these
Newcomers.
newcomers.
When I'm happy to be proven wrong when it turns out that Elder Ring's a PS5 exclusive, I will happily put my hands up on that.
A lot of people will not be happy about it. They'll put up their pitchforks and make their move. But yeah, I don't think you have to worry about it. For now, let's end the story in your final KFG news story of the week. Talking about butts. Of course, Laura's book is Things I Learned from Mario's Butt. One of the butts that is in the book, of course, is Miranda's ass from Mass Effect 2. This is one of the most famous video game asses in the world, and it turns out you're not going to see as much of it in Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We go to IGN, where Jordan Oloman writes... Thank you, Kevin. Yes. BioWare has altered some camera shots from the Mass Effect series for the Mass Effect Legacy Edition remaster package. In a recent interview with Metro, Mass Effect Legendary Edition project director Mac Walters said that the team changed certain camera angles that were deemed gratuitous. Quote, Kevin Meek from the team actually called out some camera cuts that were just ... Why was that focusing on Miranda's butt? Walters explained. So in some cases we said...
It's called art.
So in some cases we said, okay, we can make a change there. Elsewhere in the interview, character and environment director Kevin Meek alludes to another low camera shot where a male shepherd is sat with his legs open. The developers were unable to change the animation itself, but they could alter the position of the camera to change how the shot is framed. Quote, if you were wearing a skirt, it would be a bit unflattering, Meek explains. So we can't necessarily change that animation, but you can raise the camera up slightly to reduce the problem. Another quote here. I do think a lot of things have evolved since the original games, but I don't know if I would say we were ultra concerned about it or anything like that, says Walters. Back in 2010, Mass Effect 2 project director Casey Hudson told Kotaku that one particular gratuitous shot of Miranda's behind was, quote, an interesting choice, and pointed out how it wasn't easily missed, quote, when you see it there that long, ... Hudson continued. Laura, you're the expert on video game butts. What's going on?
Oh, give me a second. I've got like a whole thing to say here. So undeniably, Miranda has an amazing ass, and that is not to be downplayed. But there's so much more interesting stuff to say about Miranda's ass than just it's a great ass. It is a narratively perfect ass. It is designed to be perfect because of the plot of Mass Effect 2. Like, we know that Miranda, as a character, has been genetically engineered to be perfect. Like, that's her whole deal. Her parents tried to make her the perfect person.
Yep.
And this is a whole thing in the narrative that she's, like, really self-conscious about, because there's a lot of, weird stuff built up in the expectation of you have to be perfect. As much as I like her ass, it's not always the best thing to put in frame narratively, because her ass is a reminder of all the things she really dislikes about herself. The fact that she's been built with this expectation of perfection. When she's having a conversation about, I really struggle with living up to the expectations that were put on me, you don't need to be ogling her ass at that moment. That's probably just perpetuating the whole thing that her narrative is about, that she doesn't want people staring at her ass at that moment. Like, you can enjoy her ass. They're not taking her ass away from you, but there are certain moments where it might be more narratively satisfying for her ass to be, in the shot, not the whole shot. Show her ass like in other bits, but, maybe not in the somber conversations.
See, you crush it, and it's exactly what I think about. When I think about Mass Effect, I think about her ass, but I think about it in the same context you're giving. If I remember how powerful that conversation with her was. Of course, if you haven't played Mass Effect, which I know, I feel like a dinosaur when I'm talking to all these kids who have never played Mass Effect. I'm like, oh my God, like part of the draw to it is, having your crew, learning who your crew is, building relationships to get deeper with your crew. And I so distinctly remember that conversation with Miranda, where she's like, no, I'm genetically built to look this way because I can be the perfect agent. I can infiltrate. I can get you to let your guard down, yada, yada, yada. And it was that thought of like, Oh, that's fascinating because obviously you're playing it in the way they were doing things with the camera. You are looking at her ass, you are looking at her breasts. Like they're doing these things, and it was, the game has set me up to feel that way about you, and then you're telling me it's purposeful.
And that's the thing, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying take all gratuitous ass shots of Miranda out of that game, but I think that, like, Mass Effect 2 as a game would be perhaps better if all of the gratuitous ass shots were before that conversation, and then the game just scales them back. Because that is the moment where you go, I'm not supposed to be ogling this. This is actually, like, narratively significant, and I should probably, you know... Like, that's a real turning point in that game that you maybe then don't need to be staring at her ass during that conversation.
Right, exactly, yeah. And I think it'll be interesting to see how they play with it and how they play with their ass, how they, move it around and use it in a different way. And if it's still there, like you're saying, but it's not there as much, where it was, every conversation was, bring it down to cheek level. Like, let's look at Shepard and her butt.
Yeah, legitimately, I'm fascinated to see what they do with this, because she's one of few characters in games who you can say has a narratively impactful ass. Like, her ass is part of what moves the plot along.
100%.
So, yeah.
We'll see what happens. Are you excited? I assume you're excited for Mass Effect.
I'm excited for the Mass Effect remaster, mainly for Mass Effect 1, because that game has aged really poorly. Yeah. I love its plot, but it's just painful to go back and play.
Yeah, I'm fascinated for that one because Mass Effect 1 I didn't vibe with, so I never finished it. And then Mass Effect 2 was, I thought, such a great, hey, this is a suicide mission. We're building your crew. You're going to go. I fell in love with Mass Effect there, and then obviously played through 3, but I never went back to 1. So I'm excited to go back to 1 with more updated combat, obviously better visual.
Yeah. Mass Effect 1 is the one I struggled with. I played the opening section of that up to where you become a Spectre like 5 times and just never got on board with it. And it wasn't until like the 6th time that I actually played it through. Because, like, it's a great concept, they just really hadn't quite found it on the first one.
Yeah. Can't wait. Looking forward to that.
Yeah.
You know what else I'm looking forward to, Kevin? More people going to patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Of course, that's where you can go be part of the show. That's where you can get the post show we do each and every episode. And of course, that's where you can go to get the show ad free. But guess what? You didn't go there. So you're going to hear the ads. Today's sponsors are Brooklinen. Life is too short to sleep between anything less than really nice sheets. But maybe you looked at some retailers and calculated the years of interest you'd pay on just one set of nice sheets and gave up. Trust me, Greg Miller, go to Brooklinen. So Brooklinen was started by Rich and Vicky, who also tried to find beautiful home essentials that didn't cost an arm and a leg. And when they couldn't find them, they founded Brooklinen as the first direct-to-consumer bedding company. They work directly with manufacturers to help make luxury available directly to you without the luxury markups. Brooklinen has a variety of sheets, colors, patterns, and materials to fit your needs and tastes. Brooklinen has over 50,000 5-star reviews and counting. They are so confident that you'll love their products, they even offer a 365-day money-back guarantee. And Brooklinen is so much more than sheets. They've got comforters, pillows, towels, loungewear, and more. But you know all that because I talk all the time about the Brooklinen towels I use and the Brooklinen sheets I use, which were easy to order, very affordable, and I love and use every day. I love it. So does Tim. But we're not talking about Tim. We're talking about me. Go to brooklinen.com and use the promo code GAMES to get 25% off when you spend $100 or more, plus free shipping. That's BROOKLINEN.com. And enter the promo code GAMES to get $25 off when you spend $100 or more, plus free shipping. brooklinen.com. Use the promo code GAMES at checkout. And up next is Honey, my favorite ad because I don't read anything because I use Honey all the time. If you didn't know, you have a web browser. You're probably using it now or you have earlier today. And just like me, as I point at my Google Chrome, I have Honey installed. What is Honey? It's a little free extension that works on any web browser you have. And what it does is save you money for free. You go to online retailers. As you're checking out, it'll say, what's the promo code? The little dancing coin from Honey comes down. They run a million different promo codes. They find the one that works for you or tell you that there's nothing that works. They put it in. You save money. You get out. If you want to be like Greg Miller, you can sign in as I do with my Google, and then I accrue Honey coins, and then I take the Honey coins. Let's see how many I have actually right now, because I think I can't remember last time I did it. Right now, no, I did it recently. I don't have that many Honey coins right now, but I use the Honey coins when I go over there, and I put it into Amazon gift cards to buy stuff like the essentials I need or gifts for myself, whatever I want. Honey has found over 17 million members, over $2 billion in savings. Honey supports all kinds of retailers, from tech and gaming sites to fashion brands and even food delivery. It's simple. If you have a computer, Honey should be on it. It's free and works with whatever browser you use. You can get Honey for free today at joinhoney.com/games. That's joinhoney.com/games, so they know we sent you. Thanks, Honey, for supporting today's episode. Laura.
Yes?
I'm excited to play Mass Effect, but Legendary Edition is still so far away. If I wanted something more immediate, what came to the mom and grop shops, where would I go?
You would go to the official list of upcoming software across each and every platform as listed by the Kinda Funny Games daily show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Thank you, Kevin. Out today, Glittering Sword on Xbox One, Switch, and PC. Arag on PS5 and PS4. Neo 2 on PC. Roombo First Blood, not Rambo, Roombo First Blood, Xbox One. The Neo Collection on PlayStation 5. And Hot to Take Off Your Mask Remastered on Switch.
I love hearing about remasters of games I've never heard of.
Kevin, can I get a trailer for Hot to Take Off Your Mask Remastered on Switch?
Yep, let me go get it.
Thank you. While you look at that, I'm going to tell you about new dates. Mask Maker is coming April 20th, 2021 for Oculus Rift S, Quest via the link cable only, PlayStation VR, HTC Vive, PC VR via Steam VR. That's a lot, but that's what's happening. Then Amazing American Circus, a single-player circus empire building game, is coming to PC, PlayStation, Xbox, Switch, all on May 20th, 2021. The Resident Evil movie, or the new Resident Evil movie, which is going back in time or rebooting it or whatever, that's coming out on Labor Day weekend, September 3rd, they say. Is that going to be digital? Is that going to be just kicked back? Who knows? Okay, hold on. Kevin's got the trailer here. Kevin, are they seeing this?
Oh, yeah.
How to Take Off Your Mask. Remastered. My name is Lila. I was a baker who was born and raised in Lizeria, the capital of Erulia. Lily, I cut my finger. Huh? Well, okay, so hold on.
Why did you touch the knife?
So this is a visual novel.
I'm assuming so, yeah.
Is this a trailer or is this just gameplay?
This is the trailer.
Oh, okay.
Launch trailer.
This is the gameplay. It's just a nice story about some people. One's a baker.
Which
Don't let
one
them
is the
touch
true
knife.
him? Oh, here we go. Ding, 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 ding. Now here's the thing. Am I going to play this on a Switch? Of course not. If I find out it's on PlayStation and Easy Trophies, yes. I'll sit there with my guide and I'll go through and I'll get the Platinum Trophy and I will be done with it.
Yeah, you'll do trophies. You'll go start a bakery in order to get some trophies.
You know I will. I will waste money and time to get Platinum Trophies. Do you care about trophies at all, Laura?
I've never been a big trophy person. I collect them on certain games, but I've never been the have my whole collection.
I understand. What about achievements? No, that's just not. You're playing games for fun, for story.
I play games obsessively. I just do so on games that don't have good trophies or anything. I put 1,000 hours into Pokemon recently for no reason.
So I guess that's we did the whole who are you at the top of the show. We didn't get into it. Who are you as a gamer? What draws you to? What's your genre? What are you looking for out of a game?
I like a few genres of games. I've always been a very big narratively focused games person. I like my big sprawling epics, your big RPGs, all that sort of thing. But I also like games where I can get really obsessively into doing the same thing over and over a lot.
Sure, like a good loop.
Yeah, a good gameplay loop. I got really into Hades last year. I play Pokemon obsessively. So I put I think 1,500 hours into Sword and Shield because I've been trying to get every single shiny Pokemon variant available in that game, which are 1 in 4,000 odds of showing up.
That's crazy. Okay.
I'm 4 species away from having done that now.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I mainly just like my big RPGs.
Yeah. What are you playing right now?
What am I playing right now? I just finished The Medium. I was playing something called Double Kick Heroes on Xbox.
Yes, I saw this one where it's the double kick drum, right? That's the idea of it?
Yeah. You're doing the sort of... it's a music rhythm game where you're fighting off zombies by doing music off the back of a truck.
Yeah.
And you don't have to press specific buttons on the beat, but when you press one button, it shoots at the top of the screen. One button is the bottom. So you're sort of keeping an eye on, here's what the beat is, here's where the zombies are, and trying to time that together. Yeah. So it's a really fun little set of mechanics.
Yeah, I saw it and I wanted to play it, and then I would remember, of course, I have no rhythm, and so I stopped it. But the rhythm isn't I don't need to worry about that as much.
You don't need. It's not like, say, Guitar Hero, where when the note comes down, you're like, oh, I have to press red on this beat. It's I have to press something on this beat, but I can press either of the shooting buttons. And as long as I'm keeping an eye on where things are coming in on the screen, it'll be fine.
Okay.
It's a fun little game.
Was Hades Game of the Year for you last year?
Hades was every time I get asked, I change my mind. It was
Sure.
either Hades or it was Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, I got very, very into that game.
Yeah.
The mix of its like very serious story with all of the ludicrous side content in it was real good fun.
Are you like tried and true with Yakuza, or was that like your first taste of it?
I've played little bits of previous Yakuza games, and I've always enjoyed them. This is the most I've ever enjoyed a Yakuza. I really like the new protagonist. I think that it adds a lot having a protagonist that has more of a group of friends rather than being an isolated lone person. It gave a lot of additional personality, I think, and it got the balance between serious and humor where I wanted it to be.
Yeah, I think that it's been awesome to see people flock to Like a Dragon, because I think, as revered as the Yakuza series is, it is a series which for the longest time has put people off, right? Especially when it was Yakuza 3 was the first one I reviewed, right? So that was the first one that came stateside, and you were like, what's going on with this? And then they've gone back, obviously, with, Kiwami and Zero and all these different things and tried to patch it together, which is working really well right now for people who want to sit down and play from the start. But for other people jumping in, you don't know what the hell's going on.
Exactly, and I think another thing that's really helped was the really high quality of the English language dub on this one, because obviously that's been a thing for a while that's put some people off, and like the English language quality on Like a Dragon's so good.
Yeah. I had done the preview for it for Series X, and then got caught up in other stuff, and then I wanted a detective game, so now I'm playing Judgment. And then I'm still waiting. At this point, I'm just like, well, I'll just play Like a Dragon when it comes to PlayStation for my lame trophies when it gets there in a couple of months.
Pretty soon, isn't it, that it's coming to
PlayStation? March, wasn't it? I believe it was March.
I think so, yeah. I only played it on Xbox because I got an Xbox for work and I needed something to play on it, and it was one of the handful of games that they gave me, and I was like, you know what, let's give it a try, and I stuck with it right through.
Okay, so we had a couple You're Wrong series we've been going. Well, not about us talking about video games. that part we've been fine with. Instead, though, Nathan Dad 20 says, "Take Off Your Mask Remastered is already on PlayStation, and yes, Greg, it's an easy platinum." Hold on a second now. We'll throw open the PSN profiles here, see what the trophy guide says for it.
You have a problem, Greg. You have a problem.
I'm just saying, Kevin. Why not? You know what I mean? I got afternoons
this whole weekend. I told you.
I will be playing the Division this whole weekend. You, as usual, won't be playing the Division, and then you'll be cranky when we say you're not the right level for what we need to do.
You're ditching me for Fran again?
20 to 25 minutes. Perfect. I'm going to get this trophy later on. And then we have breaking news as well from here, the You're Wrong section. Thank you for putting this in here. Steven Totillo is leaving Kotaku. His tweet says, May 2009 to February 2021. I'm pretty proud of that run. Tomorrow, I will simply be a reader of Kotaku, like so many of you. I'm taking a month off and then starting a new adventure. Still journalism, still video games. Details TBA. So there you go. Good luck to Steven and see what's next there.
Yeah, curious to see where he lands.
I know, right? He's been there forever, obviously. 12 years.
Yeah, it's a few of the really long-term people have left in the last little bit, and I'm curious to see where they all go, because obviously, like, I've completely forgotten his name, who went over to Bloomberg. Jason Schreier's been over at Bloomberg. He's been doing great stuff. It's always interesting to see where those long-term people land. Yeah.
There's always so much change in the industry that when you see somebody who can stick around for 12 years, somewhere, and then keep going else, more power to them. How does that work for you? Because like you've obviously had bylines and jobs and stuff, and now you're kind of doing your own thing. Do you like that more?
I personally prefer doing my own thing. Like I've had editorial positions here and there. I like the freedom to jump around and be very sort of just, what do I feel like working on today? And be a bit flexible with stuff. Things like working on the book.
What's that book again?
Things I learned from Mario's Butts right here.
Oh, available now everywhere. I saw it on Amazon. That's cool.
Yeah. Stuff like that is easier to do when working for myself, and it's allowed me to work on more like long form projects that I've wanted to work on for a while, so it's been nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Your final new date, because we just got into a podcast in the middle of the news show. Apex second anniversary event is starting February 9th, and it will run until February 23rd. Apex writes, we're celebrating with a special anniversary collection event. Jump in for free rewards, a special collection event featuring the return of fan favorite looks, and the return of Locked and Loaded as playlist takeover. Yeah, as a playlist takeover. I'm sure that makes a lot of sense to people who play Apex. I have no idea what any of it means, but I wish you well as I go play Division, right, Kevin?
We got it, my dude. Division. Let's get it.
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you very much. It's time to squad up. This is where one of you writes into patreon.com/kindoffunnygames, giving me your name, username, platform of choice, and why you need help in a video game. I read it here. The best friends come and find you, and everybody plays games together. Today, Joy, parentheses, Joseph O. Youssef, needs help on PlayStation 5/PlayStation 4. Joseph O. Youssef's username is Joe Youssef 48126. So it looks like Joey, but it's Joe Youssef. JOEYOUSSEF 48126. Joy says, just getting into the Division 2. I played it hard the first 2 weeks it came out, but playing it solo was no fun at all. I am on almost every night after work from 9 p.m. ET until about 2 a.m. I also play most major releases. See you in the Dark Zone, Agent. If you want to play with Joseph, hit up Joe Youssef 48126. Here's a reminder too that I'm putting out here right now. I'm going to clean out the Kind of Funny Division clan, the official one, because there's a whole bunch of people in there, with all understandably, who haven't played in forever. So if you haven't logged in by, we'll say, Saturday morning, and you haven't gone in there, and I get to you and it says you've been offline for what I think it's 90 days, more than 90 days, I'm just going to dump you. And I hope you understand and respect you. Joy, I'll hit you up with a request to get you into it as well. Laura. We ask people watching live on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames to go to kindoffunny.com/you're wrong and tell us what we screw up as we screw it up. We've done a good job of sprinkling them in as we've gone, but it turns out I screwed up at the end here. Matt the Wob says Yakuza 1 and 2 were on PS2. Yakuza 1 and 2 on PS2 released in the States before Yakuza 3. That's a great point, Matt. Thank you very much. I was wrong and I apologize. I didn't mean to besmirch Yakuza fans who I know are incredibly hardcore, and I'm sure Imran is already drafting a subreddit post about me. Speaking of Imran, let's talk about next week's hosts. Monday, it's Blessing and Tim. Tuesday, it's me and Gary. Wednesday, it's Blessing and Imran. Thursday, it'll be me and MH Williams. That's Mike Williams doing the spotlight. And then Friday, it will be me and the Don, Imran Khan, for Imran's last Kind of Funny Games Daily as a part-timer before he goes to Fanbite and is dead to us, right, Kevin?
This is so much. Remember when Andrew was like, "Don't worry, you guys will still talk to me. We'll still hang out." I don't even know where she is. You know what I mean? I'm never gonna see
Andrea's in LA.
again.
Andrea's on the Kind of Funny podcast next week. She's on the Kind of Funny podcast
that's
next
good.
Wednesday.
That's very exciting. But
yeah,
will
so
Imran
she's
be
fine
on there, you know?
Imran talks a good game that he's still going to come through and do the
I like
Gamescast
that kid
every
a
so
lot.
often.
I miss him so much. I miss him. I
Sure.
can't. I don't understand why.
Well, don't you go to Fanbite, all right? Oh, I want to write. I like writing. I'm Imran. I'm writing the words. This is so much easier. You just talk.
Yeah, look, we're having
you
fun.
Know? Oh, God, I tell you what.
I mean, like, good for him, though. You know, I mean.
Oh yeah, we're giving a hard time. Of course, we love Imran. We're glad he's getting. Well, first off, getting a full-time paycheck. That's great. that's needed. You know what I mean? I'm sure that's going to work out better than the pennies we were able to toss at his way, and then him having to run around and freelance a bunch of stuff. I know he's missed writing news and stuff. But you know what? I'm not getting sappy about that. I'm not talking about that now. We're talking to Imran next time. Here, we're still talking about things I learned from Mario's. But Laura, thank you so much for doing the show. You still have to do the post show, but before we go to the post show and end this show, you want to give the final pitch for your book and where people can keep up with you?
Yep. This is a book all about video game character butts. Did you enjoy that conversation where we talked about Miranda and how Miranda's butt is more than just a thing to ogle at? This is a whole book of stuff like that. Greg's here talking about Raiden. Tim talks about Crash Bandicoot. I've got a bunch of developer interviews in there. There was a great one in there where Mike Bithell talks about how the game Thomas Was Alone is exclusively a game about butts and explains how every character in that game is butt-centric. Check it out. It's Things I Learned from Mario's Butt. It's out now. You can find it physical, digital. There's an audio book if you go on Unbound. Other than that, Laura K. Buzz on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Patreon. The big ones. Every Friday on YouTube, I do episodes of a series called Accessibility. It's all about accessibility and representation in games. We did an episode that went up today about ADHD that had Jim Sterling as a guest. Yep.
Yeah, Greg Miller from Kind of Funny. Thank you, Laura. What is your YouTube channel? Is it the same as everything else?
Yeah, it's youtube.com/Laura K Buzz. My apologies. Yeah.
No, just making sure. I want to take care.
Yeah, and twitch.tv/Laura K Buzz, Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 10 p.m. UK, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific. At the moment, I'm doing a bunch of speedruns of games that no one cares about speedrunning, just to collect all of the speedruns of terrible games.
Absolutely brilliant. Good for you.
I recently did one of Babysitting Mama. a game that has been out for a decade and no one has ever speedrun, so I, by default, am the world's greatest at it.
Kevin, here's where I usually sign off. And I say farewell, and then, patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. Go there. That's where the post show is going to be right there. If you're sticking around on twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, up next, of course, they're doing the group stream, the Friday group stream. And then me and Mike are, they're playing Moving Out, new content from Moving Out. I think they're giving away copies of Moving Out too. But then more importantly, me and Mike square off in the Super Bowl. I'll be playing as the Chiefs. Mike will be losing to me as the Buccaneers. But before we go, somebody in the chat needs to be taken to task. All right. Torchwood 4SP. Wrote into you're wrong, and I deleted it because it was a nonsense you're wrong. Then Torchwood brings it up in the chat as if I'm wrong and says, RIP, my you're wrong was ignored, but don't sleep on Neo Remastered Collection today on PS5. It's out today. Torchwood, you're wronged me, saying that I didn't say out today Neo Collection, when I very clearly said Neo 2, PC, Roombo, First Blood, Xbox One, not Rambo, Roombo. The Neo Collection, PlayStation fucking 5.
It's on the list. I'm looking at it now.
Torchwood, clean the shit out of your ears. Listen to the podcast you claim to be. Here's you. Oh, I'm so focused over here to make a comment. I got to do that. I got to pound on the keyboard. I don't even listen to the show. I'm watching. You know what I mean? So anxious to try to you're wrong me on Friday, no less.
I feel the need. I feel the need to tell everyone that Greg did very really smash those keys into the shared document.
I did it and it went away, and I was like, uh-oh, did I just sign off? I didn't mean to do that. You know what I mean?
I think Andy Cortez in the chat says it best. Get fucked, you absolute idiot.
And now here's the thing we need to point out too. Torchwood's already scrolled by. That's what we need to point out, of course. It has been brought to my attention before that people sometimes don't get that we joke. We're all joking. This is all for fun. We're all having a good time, Torchwood. We love you. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. If you've never seen us on Twitch before, we have a very loving community where we horse around. Sometimes Kevin yells at me. Sometimes I cry. It's not the end of the world. All right.
And Torchwood, if you want to get unbanned, maybe hit up the
No, don't ban him. Unban him. All right, there it goes. The timeout has been removed by nanobiologists.
It's a joke. Torchwood, you're good. You're good. But next time, listen better. All right.
That's true, though. You do need to work on your listening skills, Torchwood. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a post show to do. Patreon.com/kindoffunnygames. If you're on Twitch or you want to see what we're broadcasting on Twitch later, YouTube.com/kindoffunnyplays. And of course, remember, like I said, Things I Learned from Mario's Butt available right now by Laura Kate Dale. You can catch Laura on the post show right now. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.